So the X-Men universe as it is in the various formats as far as comics, movies, TV, action figures is very vast and it's very large, it has very complex characters and storylines and arcs. Well, a new entry in the form of fan fiction has come along that looks to add its own spin to a story, also introduce new characters, and one character in particular that gives us more of a look inside of the mental aspects and more of how that impacts the X-Men universe as a whole. So this fan fiction does come from my buddy Kenneth O'Brien, who has been real kind to me and given me some heads up as far as Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat stuff that's been coming out in the news, which I appreciate. So as a thank you to him, I'm doing a reaction video to some fan fiction that he's written. It's called X-Men: The Next Generation, and throughout this video, it's gonna be two parts. The first video, I'm basically gonna go over what the fan fiction is about as a whole, kind of break down what the main characters are so far, because I've only had a chance to read a couple chapters of it, and of course talk about the various storylines that I've come across so far, and then dive into the main character, at least the main character that Kenneth is trying to embody with this new reboot or this new fan fiction for X-Men, and all the different personalities that he has go along with him. And then in video part 2, I will basically read 2 chapters of his fan fiction and give my reaction overall. And hopefully from all this, it will get you excited and want to read. So far he has 5 chapters written and published. And of course, if you like his other fan fiction written, and you can always reach out to him on Twitter and give him kudos and, you know, give him some feedback or whatever you would like to do. So let's get into it and let's dive into X-Men: The Next Generation. So what is X-Men: The Next Generation? Well, it's set in a reboot universe of X-Men, and the story is a reboot set in the X-Men film series, mostly the Fox film series, because that's mostly all the X-Men films they have right now, with new mutants and revelations waiting to be explored within the physical world and the mental world. Now, just from what I've talked about this, he's looking to introduce a character known as Taron Silvo. Not so much of his backstory has been explained so far, although it is to come in future chapters. But the main aspect about this character is that he is, of course, new to the X-Men universe, and with him, he is a character with many personalities. Okay, and with each personality comes a different ability, which I think is very interesting, and not something I think that we've seen so far as X-Men characters. But the main characters of the fanfiction so far are Bobby Drake, which is Iceman. We have Anne Marie, which is Rogue. We have Alex Summers, which is Havoc. We have John Allardyce, which is Pyro. We have Jubilee, which is Jubilee. We have Aimi Yoshida, which is from X-Men Destiny. We also have Grant Alexander, which is from X-Men Destiny. And then we have the new character, Taron Silvo. Now this also, so far, from where I've gotten in the story, we also have some teachers. Of course, gotta have some teachers because these are all X-Men students. So we have Hank McCoy, which is Beast. We have Professor Xavier. And then we have other characters, including David Haller, which is Legion. So that's going to be an interesting spin. And we also have an unknown villain. We don't know who the villain is. But that's so far what's set up. Now, some storylines and arcs that I've kind of come across so far, and you'll kind of notice, is we have, so far the story is being told from Bobby Drake's perspective. He basically is being introduced to Xavier's Institute for Students. And so that immediately leaves you in his interactions with the other students that are already there. It also has this kind of interesting interaction with Taron himself and potentially a romantic relationship. Now, I can't speak too much about LGBTQ as far as, you know, I know what it is and, you know, what it can happen between a guy and a guy, but me being straight, I can't speak too much to that, but I leave that up to Kenneth to explain more to you about what he wants to happen in this budding relationship. But we have that aspect to it. We also have Hank and Xavier, you know, with the students, which is different because you have a somewhat different group of students from what we've been seeing in the past X-Men films and some of the X-Men series. So this is kind of a different grouping. Also, we have the student and teachers, different interactions with Taron's many personalities that we're getting to see so far. And then, of course, we have this unknown villain. So a lot of things going on just within the first couple of chapters. So a lot to get you dive in, get you hooked. But the main part of this video is kind of introduce our character, Taron Silvo, and kind of break down all 72 of his personalities and their various abilities. Now, to make this easy on you and me, as a, you know, making the video and editing it, I decided to go ahead and go through the list, and then as I'm talking, I'm going to have a lot of them kind of showing the various pictures that were provided to me on the screen to kind of give you an idea of what this character could kind of look like. And of course, this is all like a work in progress, but so far, this is what we have. So, starting off with Huggy Mikey. He doesn't believe the abuse ever happened. Extreme mental impairment, frozen psychological and physically at 5 years old. I think we can all kind of relate to a character like him, kind of having this mental state as a child, and that's who this character is. Number 2 would be Scar Baby. He's an abuse keeper, an embodiment of hidden grief. So a lot of these characters are going to be tied to abuse, mental illness, the type of treatment that they've had to them, and so that's what you're going to kind of see as we go through this list. We have number 3 is K through 12. No one knows what K looks like, but all they know is that K through 12 is a little boy child and has amazing puzzling skills. I can see that. That's something interesting. You know, I kind of picture somebody from like the girl from the second Hellraiser. That's kind of like what she was, like a mute and kind of was just did puzzles. So I can kind of see that. So at number 4, we have the Brothers of Fate, which are extremely prideful and gives advice. At number 5, we have Caden, who is a primary persona. We have number 6, which is Tito Charlie. Sounds like a mobster. Explosive emotions, primarily anger. We have number 7, which is White Hair, which is a lover of paper origami. We have number 8, Pyro Tommy, which I have gotten to read about so far in the fan fiction, and he is a very interesting character. Hostility, attracted to fire, and extremely confrontational when under high stress, but a defender. Interesting. We have Jericho at number 9, which is Omer primary of guidance and lover of world religion except for Christianity. Interesting. We have Azazel, which is embodiment of being called a sickness and a virus. We have Mr. Grimm, which is an abuse endurer of physical pain and lover of pain, masochism. We have number 12 is Papa Stigmata, interesting name, embodiment of penance and keeping secrets. We have number 13, which is Sin of the Lamb, believing the abuse was my fault, extremely guilty. Interesting. We have number 14, which is Pentecost or Penny with the candlestick, who is the embodiment of God's fury. That's very interesting. That's an interesting character. I'm looking forward to see what that one's about. We have Bloody Matron at number 15. He's scares away any potential threats. Got to have one of those. Number 16, which is Banshee, is part of Irish heritage. We have number 17, which is Driver Mick, completely sane and the driver of the railway system. Interesting. We have number 18, which is Twist, embodies hatred towards liars. Oh, that could be interesting as far as a story dynamic. We have number 19, which is Jack in Chains, embodies the heavy guilt of the abuse. We have number 20, which is Sinclair, who is a perfectionist. I imagine more of, extreme perfectionist. We have number 21, which is Cerebra, embodies cockiness and irrational sense. We have number 22, Motorhead, protector, will not allow any abuse to happen, physical, mental, or emotional, so a protector to the fullest. And I will say that when you start reading the fan fiction right away, you will interact with that character right away. And, I'll let you get your own perspective of what you think of him, but true to the name right there. Number 23 is Jack Straw, hostile and mischievous. We have number 24, which is Baba Yaga, the hatred of men, women, and straight people, primarily men and straight men. Fighting back towards abusers prevents any persona from experiencing abuse. Interesting stuff. So, not sure if it's more of Baba Yaga's more for hatred against homophobic men and women. I don't know about that one, but let's see. Number 25 is Edgar, embodies the dark side of rhymes and poetry. Okay, so the imagery gets too dark. We have the Paint Man at number 27, who paints or draws and embodies depression. We do get to see the Paint Man in early iterations of chapters. Number 28 is TK Billy, an embodiment of stuttering and running or moving from danger. We have number 29, which is Pretty Peter, mildly moody, despises liars, and prefers the truth. Interesting. We have Frost, which loves the snow. Can deal with that. It's interesting so far. We're about halfway through the list, but it's interesting that a lot of these personalities may not necessarily be what you would think of as far as like powers and abilities like Rogue or somebody like that. They're more of just things that embody the personality itself, which I find interesting. We have 31, which is the Single Man's Ghost, embodies feeling like a nobody. We have number 32, the Woodsman, embodies forced masculinity by real father. Oh, that sounds very interesting and kind of sad. We have number 33, which is Son Danny, who is a protector. A lot of protectors in these roles. Another one is number 34, Dr. Psyche. Dr. Petrelli is a protector of mental abuse and harbors a sense of resentful leadership. We have number 35, which is Blink, embodies a feeling of wanting to leave a certain place or wanting to go somewhere new. We have number 36, which is Flora, plant and nature lover as well as hating humans, so our poison ivy of the group. We have number 37, which is the North Wind, a protector. We have number 38, which is Zeus, embodies being important and thinks of being a god. That's interesting, think of himself being a god. That one seems like it'd be interesting to see. Number 39 would be River, embodies a side of peace and love and hates war. Number 40 is Insect King, embodies feeling like an insect. Okay. Number 41 is Razor, no filter and embodies speaking his mind. Also represents the saying, words can hurt. Interesting. Number 42 is Psy, very tactical and prefers strategic methods. Okay. Number 43 is Alexander, embodies a perfect child trope and is a hopeless romantic. Okay. Number 44 is Hazard, embodies a feeling of always feeling lucky. Number 45 is Vincent Lazuli, embodies a cool but not necessarily friend, also embodies naivety. Number 46 is Boy Blue, mute but presents wanting to be a novelist. Okay. Number 47 is Blacksmith, very serious and doesn't think before actions. Number 48 is the Principal, that name alone, embodies wanting to be neat and orderly. That's my kind of personality right there, OCD. Number 49 is Spinner Jean, embodies high anxiety and believes the worst in everything. Okay. Number 50 is Halo, represents the memory keeper and tries to hide the abuse. Oh, that's an interesting one. Number 51 is Neo, represents the rebellious phase of a teenager. Number 52 is the Angel, embodies the need to fight back against abusers, but is 16 years old. Number 53 is the Violinist, represents the saying, you didn't hear anything, as well as the love of the cello and violin, and this one's 15 years old. Interesting how, again, adding to the complexity of the personalities, it also, these descriptions talk about what state of mind as far as age, what age state of mind they're in. Number 54 is Sex Pistol, interesting name, represents high sexuality of both sexes. All right. Number 55 is Acid Bomb, represents extreme sexual arousal. 56 is Georgie Porgy, represents wanting to be a womanizer. 57 is Jason Myers, embodies deception and manipulation. 58 is the Crooked Man, represents the business side of the world, but also an extreme misandrist who sees men as evil. Seeing a pattern here as far as feelings towards men. Let's see, we have the Frost Brothers, represents extreme misandrist and sees men as playthings. We have No Face at number 60, which represents wanting to become a star, an extreme perfectionist. 61 is Cobra, represents the nickname Cobra. Number 62 is Nyx, extremely hostile and always acts out in violence. We have Fault Zone, dancing and being called a ballerina by the older abusers, Rill's dad, substitute teachers, and students. Okay. Number 64, we have Arcane, I believe, Arachne. Arachne. Represents the feeling of being like a spider, Arachne. 65 is the Crow, the love of crows and showing the dark side of reality. Ooh, I like that one. That one's interesting. 66 is the Ripper, embodies the feelings of anger, loud and outgoing, over-obsessing, extremely serious but funny, and wanting to be the class clown. Okay, I think we all kind of have an idea what that kind of person is. Number 67 is Smiley, harbors of feelings of feeling like a monster from the abuse. Okay, trying to hide it. Number 68 is a Shaman, represents Native American heritage. Number 69 is Johnny Fugue, embodies order and sticking to a schedule. We have Lobo at number 70, which is lover of the mystic arts. That one could be interesting. We have number 71 at Mama Bear, motherly love and parental instinct. And number 72 is Genesis, sisterly love and loyalty. So those are all 72 different personalities of the new character Taron Silvo that you will see as you read X-Men Next Generations. But that is a lot of personalities to embody in one person. It'll be interesting to see how they are all juggled throughout the story as it progresses. I know so far they are very at random of what I've read, but it kind of makes it more interesting in that way because you never know what you're going to get, which makes more sense because this is a character who, while there may be a primary version of them as far as Taron himself, all these other characters are still a part of him, and we'll get to experience those through different interactions with other characters, different situations, and overall that makes the story very, very interesting. If what I've described so far has piqued your interest, by all means, in the description below, I will leave a link to both Kenneth's Twitter and a link to his fan fiction so you can go ahead and start reading. Like I said, in the second video I do in this series, I will go ahead and start reading the first 2 chapters of the fan fiction. I'll just let you know there is some mature content, but I'm going to try to basically not censor it, but just kind of maybe mature it down, censor a little bit so that YouTube doesn't, take it down. But I will be as sincere as I can to the content and read it as it was written. But if so far what I've described has piqued your interest, make sure you read down the links down below and go ahead and get your head start on the reading of the fan fiction. That's it for this video, guys. Remember to hit that like button. If you want me to like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time on the Mashup.